Here's a color that you probably don't hear a lot about. It is called magenta. If you have the Crayola box, it's called magenta. If you have the Crazy Art box, it might be called like raspberry. We'll figure it out. It's kind of like a purplish pink kind of color. I love using magenta because I like to mix blue into it and it creates like a galaxy kind of look. So let's practice a bit with our magenta, and we're going to focus in the top right corner. You're going to notice two things. It says magenta training wheels. I'll zoom in. This means we're going to have the lines. That's good because we're used to the lines. There's also a new box that's called zero. Zero means nothingness, 0 layers, 0 colored pencil goes into that box. Later on, when we take away the training wheels, it means 0 colored pencil will be in this area. Under 0, you don't have to put anything. Under level 1, ever so gently lay in some circles. Because the box is so small, I know some of you are going to be tempted to just do this. No, I'm not accepting that. No sweeps. Small circles only. Box number 2. We're going to make box number 2 look just like box number 1. Then add one more layer of pressure to it to make it slightly darker. My pressure got a little carried away in that little spot right there. So to fix that, you just grab an eraser and just kind of lift it up to even it out. Box number 3. Matching box number 2. And then adding one extra little layer on top of it to make box number 3 look slightly different from box number 2. Box number 4, I can use me some medium pressure. Staying with my small circles. If I see a circle, then I'm gonna keep circling around it to interlock it to where I don't see the circle anymore. Making sure to go to my edges. Now that box number 4 looks just like box number 3, time to add another layer to it. And go a bit heavier with this extra layer because I want to see a difference. Box number 5, can go heavy with this to match that number 4. Then I can add another layer. To make 5 different from 4. Box number 6 can go in with some heavy pressure, get a layer in there. Right now, the pigment is sitting on top of the paper. Whenever I change the position of my hand to the front of the pencil, I'm now about to deeply push that pigment that was there and embed it deeply into the paper. That's why my dark becomes incredibly dark. People who try to do this without a layer first, you probably have trouble making your level 6 as dark as mine. You want to put a layer first and then do an extremely heavy layer to embed the first layer into the paper. It's now time to do a real fade with no training wheels, means no lines. This magenta fade is going to be a all the way heavy, slightly getting lighter and lighter, fading out into zero, into nothingness. Notice how it's hard to tell where the 6 ends and the 5 begins because it's been blurred together, where the 5 ends and the 4 begins because it's been blurred together. I find that it's actually easier to start out with the heavy side and slightly adjust your pressure of your hand to get lighter and lighter and lighter out into nothingness. We have a guide above us. We have our training wheels above us to help us with what pressure should be in what area, except there should be no contrast lines. And I'll show you an example later of what a contrast line is. Let's go ahead underneath the number 6 with your magenta. You can heavy pressure lay in a 6. I get in one layer and then I really push that layer into the paper with a heavy layer on top. Now it's time to slowly change the 6 into a 5. A common mistake that I see is people will put a 5 next to the 6. No, my level 5 is right on. I'm halfway circling on the new area and the old area, interlocking the new area and the old area with a level 5. Now that I don't see a contrast line, I'll extend this level 5 outward. Time for a level 4. I'm not going to lay a level 4 next to the level 5. I'm going to halfway circle in the level 5, halfway circle into the level 4. Then extend the level 4 out and away. Check to see if your 4 matches the 4 above. It takes a while to build a 4. I'm still on the 4. Now I have me a 4. With my 3, I'm going to halfway circle in the 4, halfway circle in the 3 to get rid of that contrast line. I'll get even lighter in the level 2. And then barely push down in the level 1 area. And then have the level 1 fade into nothingness. If I notice some areas are too similar, I can make some adjustments. I can make this 4 a tad bit darker. Then make this 3 a tad bit darker. Even I have to make adjustments. These are examples of contrast lines. This abrupt change from the 6 into the 5, that's considered a contrast line. On the real one, that doesn't exist. The abrupt change from the 4 to the 3, this line right here, that's an example of a contrast line. The abrupt change from the 3 to the 2, that's considered a contrast line. So when you have something successfully without contrast lines, you shouldn't be able to tell where the 6 ends and the 5 begins, where the 5 actually ends and the 4 begins. It all fades into each other. Take your blue colored pencil. We're going to practice with training wheels again. Let's practice different. Let's practice level 6 first on this side. Loading the box with some pigment and then pushing the pigment deep into the paper with a level 6. Level 5. Trying to go almost as dark as that level 6. Level 4. Going almost as dark as that level 5, but not all the way. Level 3. Medium pressure. Level 2. Light pressure. Level 1. Barely even touching the paper. Can make my 3 a little bit darker. Can make my 4 a little bit darker. There. No more training wheels for this next one. I have my blue colored pencil underneath the 6. I'll lay in some pigment just to get it going. Then I'll push down, pushing and embedding that first layer of pigment into the paper. Now this is the hardest contrast line to get out. Like earlier you can kind of see there's a bit of a contrast line that I have up here, but later on I'll work that out. Let's spend some time halfway circling in, halfway circling out at that level 6 to blur that contrast line out. I'm just not going as heavy. Still going pretty heavy, just not as heavy. Pulling this into a level 5, extending the level 5 out and away now that I've got it going. Time for a level 4. I'll halfway circle into my level 5. Match your 4 up here. We have an example of a 4 up here to match. Level 3, halfway circling into the level 4, halfway circling out. Gently lift lighter into the level 2. Then barely even push down in the level 1. And then nothingness. When I zoom out, it's looking like this. Not everything that we do this year is a total 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 fade. This is a heavy to light fade. A lot of times we'll do a medium to light fade, which means that your level 3 is going to be wider, your level 2 is going to be wider, your level 1 wider, and going into nothingness. It says that it's a red medium fade. 3 is medium, 2 is light medium, 1 is light, 0 is nothingness. So this is a test to control your hand. Underneath 3, you're going to go as light as a 3, not as heavy as a 6. So pick out how heavy a 3 is and start laying in a medium 3. It's a wide area. It's testing to make sure that you are interlocking your circles and that you're not scribbling or sweeping. It's testing that you know the difference between a medium level 3 and a level 6 heavy pressure. Level 3 is going all the way over here, so I have to continue it. I'm not going to start level 2 next to level 3. I'm going to halfway circle a level 2 into level 3. Halfway circling in, halfway circling out. And then once I get rid of that contrast line, then I'll carry the level 2 pressure over to the left. I'm noticing I can make my 3 a little bit darker. My 2 and my 3 are looking a little too much alike. Sometimes you can't tell until you get 2 colors or 2 values next to each other. Time for, make sure there's no contrast line, a level 1. Halfway circling a level 1 into the level 2. And then fading it out into nothingness. This is a medium to light fade, a 3-2-1-0 fade. I've decided that you don't have to do this one. Let's create a blend out of the fade that we already have. With your blue colored pencil, find where you did your magenta fade. I want you to think of level 2 pressure with your blue. You're going to fill this entire thing up with a level 2 pressure blue. So in level 6, I'll lay in a level 2, and it might be hard to see on camera, but your level 6 is going to start changing color. I'm ignoring these numbers because I'm just going to stay at a consistent level 2 in this whole rectangle. You'll notice how the level 2 interacts with the level 5 magenta now. You'll see how the level 2 blue interacts with the level 4 magenta. Sometimes circle in opposite directions to help interlock and mix things. I'm even going to fill in the 0 area with a 2. 2 in blue. You'll see how it's kind of like a galaxy kind of vibe to it. It's looking good.